What is up, my athletes? I am Coach Andrew, and this is Coach's Kitchen. A few of the topics we've touched on are better ways of stretching. We've learned about our balance, our endurance, our strength, but why haven't we talked about food yet? And that's why we're here today, in my kitchen. And I'm going to show you my not quite as famous as it should be chicken recipe. Stay tuned. My chicken recipe is not overly complicated and can be prepared using standard items found in anyone's kitchen. As far as cooking hardware goes, it's pretty simple. All I have is one large mixing bowl, one very sharp knife, one cutting board, and a baking pan. Here I have one that's circular and one that's rectangular. I'm probably going to use this one here because it's a bit larger so I can add more things to it. The main ingredient is chicken breast. I have fresh chicken breast here, but if you have frozen, that works just all the same. Although, if you are using frozen chicken breast, I recommend filling your sink with hot water and then placing the frozen chicken breast into the hot water until they are thawed out. Aside from the chicken breast, everything else I'm about to show you is optional. I say the word optional because I know what I like to eat, and I'm not so sure about you. But if you do see something that you're not so sure about, please take this time to try something new because you might just like it. For instance, I have a fistful of asparagus, some portobello mushrooms, some broccoli, sweet pepper, an apple, an orange, and some other herbs and spices that I will add later. Step 1 is to preheat your oven to 450 degrees Fahrenheit. Once your oven is set to 450 degrees, let's go ahead and wash our hands with soap and water. Alright, clean hands, we're all set to go. If you choose to add some of the extras like the asparagus, the broccoli, the mushrooms, so on and so forth, please go ahead and wash them thoroughly in the sink before we begin cutting. I've already washed all my extra items, so as soon as you've done the same, let's go ahead and hit that next step. Let's clear this area for cutting. Move the cutting board here into the center, knife. Once your area is clear and you have a mixing bowl next to your cutting area, let's go ahead and get the asparagus ready. These next steps are the way that I like to do things, not saying that you can't do them some other way. Let's take our asparagus and we're going to cut off the bottom third. Okay, so what we're left with looks like this here. Take the bottom trimmings and either throw them in the trash or the garbage disposal. Then take your newly cut fistful of asparagus and we're going to cut it in half. Now take your large mixing bowl and add the asparagus to it. Pretty easy, right? Broccoli comes in all shapes and sizes. I have the pre-chopped here, but at the store you can get the broccoli that is still in the branch form or frozen. When it comes to cutting broccoli, the idea is to take some of these larger pieces like this here and to make them into smaller pieces like this one here. So for instance, this big piece, we would take our knife and go ahead and cut off some of these little branches here. Now this is completely up to you, but some of the pieces will have longer stems. Now, I'm not a big fan, so I'll go ahead and I'll cut those off, and then I'll take the good pieces, we'll throw them in our big mixing bowl here. Okay, as soon as you're finished with the broccoli, next we'll move on to the mushrooms. Mushrooms, pretty simple. You can either quarter them, which means you would slice them once in half and then again in half. Or you can do slices right down the middle, like this here. looks kind of like this. Get one more in there. We're just gonna slice, 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 and slice. As far as thickness goes, that's completely up to you. I like to keep them about something like this here. Once you're finished slicing your mushrooms, go ahead and throw them into the mixing bowl. Next up, sweet pepper. There are different ways of cutting a sweet pepper. My preferred method is to cut the top rim off, so with the stem. So we're going to go down maybe a half inch or so, and then cut that. So it's going to open it up like this. Then I just reach in there, pull out all the seeds and all the good stuff there. So now it's like that. Go ahead and knock out the rest of the seeds. So you're left with this guy. Then I'm going to cut off the bottom, just a little bit of the butt. So it's like this here. Now, I like to cut it in half like this. So it gives you some nice rings like this here. But you can also cut it long ways like this. So when you're all finished up, you'll either have pieces like this, or a bunch of pieces like this, or just a mixture. It's completely up to you. Then go ahead and toss them into the mixing bowl. With everything added to our mixing bowl, let's go ahead and add some olive oil to the top. If you prefer a different type of oil, that's fine. Some use avocado, some would use maybe peanut oil, butter is another choice. Once you've added your cooking oil, go ahead and clear a space. Because now it's time to prep our baking pan. Like I said before, I'm going to stick with the rectangular pan because I'm adding all this extra stuff. I want to be sure there's enough room. Place your pan down onto the counter and grab your tin foil, and we're going to pull out a sheet that is just a little bit longer than the pan itself. Then place it shiny side up into the pan. When pressing out the tin foil to the shape of your cooking pan, please remember that it's very easy to tear tin foil and you don't want to have to start over again. What I like to do is start from one side and kind of start in the corners. And then I'm going to wrap it up here on the side and kind of crunch up the edge here like that. Okay, and then walk it to the other side in the corner, and then crinkle up the side. So it looks something like this here. Grab your cooking oil again, and we're just going to put a nice little layer on the bottom. Just like that. Before we set this cooking pan out of the way, I'm going to add a very light layer of salt to the bottom. But not too much though, because you can always add more. You can't necessarily take it back. Let's go ahead and set our cooking pan out of the way. Go ahead and grab your cutting board after it's been washed, just like mine has. Then grab your chicken. If it's fresh like mine is here, go ahead and give it a quick rinse in the sink. Then place your freshly washed chicken breasts onto your cutting board. And you see some of these fatty tags right here? Go ahead and take your sharp knife and carve up some of these pieces, just like this here. There's another big one. You will find that some pieces of chicken have more fat on it than others. This doesn't necessarily mean that the piece is bad or good, it's just more personal preference. And my preference is to go ahead and carve up each piece. Alright, so we've worked through just about all of it. A straggler. Okay, looks like we've carved up our chicken, so let's go ahead and place the chicken pieces into our cooking pan. Now it's time to clean up the cooking board, so let's discard any of the raw chicken trimmings into the trash and place the cooking board with your cutting knife into the sink, and be sure to wash it with hot, soapy water. And now comes the fun part, where we get to choose which seasoning to put on the chicken. And this is where things kind of go wrong for a lot of people, with the common thinking that more is better, not necessarily when it comes to cooking. This is how I normally season my chicken breast. As you can see, I have 4 chicken breasts here. So I'm going to season each breast just a little differently to change up the flavors. First, I start off with some salt. My favorite is the pink Himalayan salt. Is there a big difference? I don't really know, and I don't really care, to be honest. So I just like that it looks different and it tastes good to me. So I'm going to just do a little, and that's it for that. And then for the first chicken breast, it's a bacon and chive flavoring. It's pretty good stuff, and it kind of gives it that smoky bacon flavor. So I'm going to just sprinkle enough on that first one. For the next chicken breast, I'm going to keep it simple and just use a pre-mixed seasoner. This guy right here. It's supposed to be a little bit spicy, so we'll see. Start from one end, and then sprinkle it kind of evenly around. Boom, boom, just like that. The third chicken breast, and the most special chicken breast, is going to get a little bit more attention. So first, I'm going to start with some lemon pepper seasoning. This guy right here. Just going to kind of go from one end to the other. Make sure there's quite a bit of this on there because I kind of like the pepper and the lemon zest. The next ingredient is a garlic. Here I have a garlic powder. Now a little of this goes a long way, so don't go too crazy on it. Boom, perfect. The third and final ingredient is a coffee rub. Now that might sound kind of like not so good, like what are you thinking putting it on chicken? But it's actually pretty good. So I'm going to take a few pinches, just kind of sprinkle it just like that, and do one more. A pinch is exactly what it sounds like. Just go ahead and you pinch the dry ingredient, and then you twist your fingers back and forth so that way you can more evenly disperse the rub or the spice, whatever it is. The last piece of chicken, I typically try to go sweet. That's where the orange, and the apple, and the honey come into play. All right, so first we'll put the honey on. Get a little bit out here, and I'm just going to kind of drizzle it along the side here. There. Something just like that. Next, let's add a slice of orange and a slice of apple. So let's go ahead and get our cutting board. Make sure that you've washed it with soap and water since we had raw chicken and stuff on it before. And the same goes for your knife too. So we're going to take our apple and just cut it right in half. Like this here. And then I'm going to just cut off a sliver of it. You know what, let's make that 2 slivers. So this is what you end up with. Then go ahead and place them on top of your chicken breast. Then grab your orange, and we're going to do the same thing. So place the orange on the cutting board. Go ahead and just slice right down the middle. And just like with the apple, we're going to do a little sliver. And then we'll do a second one. Since this orange is so nice and juicy, I'm going to go ahead and do a third cut. We're going to do it long ways. So we're going to have a flat piece and then 2 wedges. Go ahead and place those on top of or next to your chicken breast. So it looks something kind of like this here. And we're just about ready to put this bad boy in the oven because I see that it's now preheated to 450. We're going to take our cut vegetables and we're going to sprinkle them on top of the chicken. Now one thing I do want to point out, I like to make sure that there's a gap up between each piece of my chicken. So I'm going to alternate which way these go. See how there's kind of some spacing here now? And then move this guy up there. Once you have the chicken breast evenly spaced out, we're going to sprinkle a few vegetables on top and then also in the spaces in between the meat. This is where you can change things up. This first layer of vegetables I'm putting down will cook the entire time that the chicken cooks. And for me personally, I like it when the vegetables are kind of crispy on the outside. So let's go ahead and set our bowl off to the side. Now is the time when it all comes together. So go ahead and grab your oven mitt and let's go throw this in the oven. Make sure that your oven is preheated to 450 and go ahead and open the door. Now be careful and stick it in one of the top racks, just like that. Close it up, and now we wait. This is where my recipe differs from a lot of the others. If you're anything like me, you know someone who has a dry chicken recipe. And a lot of times it's not done on purpose, it's just people, they don't know how to cook chicken. There are few things in this life that I appreciate less than dry chicken, and here's why. Back in my bodybuilding days, my diet consisted of mainly chicken breast. So the search for the perfect chicken recipe was on, for sure. And I spent months and months and months trying different recipes, searching for that perfect combination. So here is the secret when it comes to chicken. You have to cook it hot and you have to cook it fast. The thickness of the chicken breast will determine the amount of cook time. The chicken breasts I picked out, I would say, are a medium thickness. So we're going to cook the first side for 9 minutes, then we're going to flip it, okay, and then put the chicken back in the oven and then cook for another 9, and then we're going to check it and make sure that the chicken is cooked all the way through and check that there's no pink left. And if that's the case, we're good to go. The chicken has been cooking for 8-9 minutes, so let's go ahead and take a peek. Alright, looks pretty good for the first half. So let's go ahead and pull it out, close the door, and then find a good spot to put it. If you have a cutting board, that works, or a hot pad. Alright, so this is what we have so far. See, there's a little bit of some charred broccoli that looks really, really good. Nice, the chicken looks pretty good too. Alright, so next step, we're going to go ahead and we're going to flip each chicken breast over onto its other side. Alright, so it looks something like that there. Then we're going to take the remaining vegetables, go ahead and sprinkle on top. Oh, got one casualty. Okay, and kind of even these out a little bit. Alright, so this is what we're left with. Man, it smells delicious. And I'm not just saying that because, well, I made it. It really does smell pretty good. One last final ingredient is my Lowry salt. I'm going to do a little sprinkle over the top. Alright, we're all set. Let's stick it back in the oven. So go ahead, pull the door open, slide it back into the same rack, push it in, close the hatch, and I say, let's check on it in 8 more minutes. Alright, so we have about 8 minutes to work out. So find something that's safe to lift and that's heavy, that is somewhere in the kitchen area. I have this 25-pound bag of rice, so I'm going to use this, and let's do some curls, and maybe 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Let's put that down. Next, let's do some push-ups just like the ones I showed you in the first workout video, where you find a nice sturdy flat edge and you're doing a push-up and clap. Push-up, clap. Push-up, clap. Let's do 20 of them. Okay, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. All right. Next, find a chair or something similar to this here, and we're just going to lift it straight up and out, and we're going to hold it, and then back down, and back out again. Let's hold it for, I'm feeling good, maybe 10 seconds. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Break. And then we'll hit it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Hey Alex, how are you doing, buddy? Now the real challenge is this. If you have a pet in your household, and if it fits on a chair like this here, I challenge you to lift it up and then hold it and see how long your pet stays on there for. And we're going to extend it out and then bring it back in. Extend it out, bring it back in. Oh, yes. And for those of you who were not in flag football last fall, this is one of my 2 Sphinx cats. This is Helix. And he likes to help out, doing everything around the house, including working out apparently. So out and in, out, in. Hey buddy. Out and in, out and in, out and in. And then we're gonna go up and down, up and down. Whew. All right, Helix, high five. Put her there. Yeah, that's my boy. All right, let's go check on the chicken. Good times as always. And it looks like we're right on time, so go ahead and pull the oven door open. And with your oven mitt, go ahead and reach in. We're gonna grab that, pull it out. Ooh, this looks pretty good. All right, so go ahead and set it down on your hot mat. Oh, not only does it smell good, it also looks good too. And as they say, we often eat with our eyes. So something that looks good, it's going to taste better. To check and make sure that the chicken is cooked all the way through, we're going to go ahead and find the thickest piece, which is this one here. And we're going to make a little slit in the thickest part of it. And there's no pink. So that means we are good to go. What we're going to do now is wait. We're going to wait 5 to 7 minutes to allow the chicken time to soak up some of its juices before we either slice it up or section it off and put it in pieces of Tupperware or serve it onto a dinner plate. After the chicken has had time to sit, now we have to decide, well, what should we do with it? I've decided to eat some of it, but then I want to store the rest to use at a later time. This is where having quality Tupperware and or storage containers comes into play. I have 3 storage containers here, so I'm going to go ahead and line them up like so. Then pick out a chicken breast. This one here to the far left. Go ahead and set it down on your cutting board, and we're going to slice it up. The rules in my kitchen say the chef always gets to taste his work. Oh, I tell you, this is so good. I don't know, I understand it. It is. You know what, I might take a break here and just chow on this because it's pretty good stuff. And hopefully, if you follow my recipe, it should be about the same for you too. Once we have the chicken breast all sliced up like this, go ahead and we're going to pick it up and then just place it into the Tupperware. Then, as long as the vegetables are not too hot, you can go ahead and grab a couple little handfuls. Kind of like to mix it all up a little bit here. Right. So this here looks pretty good for a little afternoon snack or lunch or dinner. Go ahead and set this off to the side. Time to fill up the second one. Go ahead and pick up another chicken breast. Okay, once your chicken breast is on the cutting board, and go ahead and slice this one up too. Hey, rules are rules. Chef has to taste his work. Oh. Success. Okay, so let's go ahead and scoop up this chicken breast, put it into this container. All right. And then like the last one, go ahead and pick up some vegetables. All right, let's get a couple of these peppers in there too. Okay, so there we have it. And here's meal number 2. Go ahead and set that one off to the side as well. All right, go ahead and pick up the third chicken breast. And like the previous 2, go ahead and slice it up. Rules are rules. It's good stuff. Once it's all sliced up, go ahead and put it into the storage container. And filled up with some vegetables. Okay, number 3 is done. There we have it. Go ahead and set the third one off to the side as well. And now the fourth piece. When it comes to cutting chicken breast, I found that this method works the best. After you lay your chicken breast down on a cutting mat, there are 2 long edges. There's this edge here, which is a bit more flat, and then this edge here, which is a bit more kind of mountainous, or it drops down really fast. You see that? That side versus this side. So what you're going to do is you lay it down like this, so long edge on the bottom, and then you're going to start here at this end, or the other end, doesn't matter, and you're going to kind of cut at an angle like this. Now that I have sliced my final chicken breast, I'm going to go ahead and plate this one up because I can't wait to give it a try. And that is how you make Coach Andrew's should be more famous than it really is chicken recipe. I hope you enjoyed learning this new recipe, and I also hope it's something that you can add to your repertoire of meals that you cook. This right here is exactly the type of fuel that you want to put inside your machine to keep you going and performing at your best. And for those who say dieting has to be a drag, and it's just plain chicken breast, steamed broccoli, and steamed rice. Well, it doesn't have to be that way. And this right here is exactly what I would eat while prepping for a bodybuilding show. Anyone who has done competitive fitness will tell you how important it is to monitor the types of food that you put into your body, because in the end, it really can make all the difference. And this right here definitely gets Coach Andrew's stamp of approval. Helix, what are you doing? Come here, little buddy. Come here, come here, come here, come here. Ah. Don't you wish you could eat people food? Oh my goodness, I know. Doesn't it look delicious? I know. Until next time, stay fit, stay focused, stay motivated, stay healthy, and enjoy Coach Andrew's chicken recipe.